So now I'm going to show you how to assemble the water lily. It's made from 8 sheets, which are all in the kit. And the first thing you're going to have to do is strip them out of the sheets. This is part number 1, of which there are 8. So all of them, they've been die cut, and you need to strip them out, maybe just coax them out if they're caught in there. And then we will be folding those, but let's just strip them all out first. Part number 2. Hey. That might be a better way to show it, actually. So with part number 2, then you also have to remove these little pieces around here. I'll just start. There are 8. It's all base 8, actually, this model. Hey. And then I'm doing that without bending that. But then these ones in the middle, I want to remove these 4 little triangles. And it's okay to fold these. There's a fold line on there. Ooh. Nearly there. And there's part number 2 prepared. Part number 3 is on an A3 sheet, so it needs to be unfolded and then stripped out like the others. Some parts are better cut than others, just the way it's done with the die cutting machine. And to get all the easy parts down and go back to that one. Here it is. There we go. And then this one, part 3, needs to have the middle removed. Just tidy that up. Okay. Part 3 done, or at least removed from its sheet. Part 4, also A3. Whoa, needs to be unfolded. Look at that, it's fallen right out. Unfolded and then stripped from its sheet. Part 4 has 8 of these little triangular pieces that need to be removed. And 4 little squares in the middle. You'll notice when you're handling these pieces that there are 2 types of creases on the model, which we're going to study in detail. Hang on. There's part number 4. And the 2 creases are perforations and creases, straight lines. And they go in different ways, as I will show. Okay, now part number 5. I'll strip that out. Okay. And in the middle of that, a little octagon. So there's part number 5. 6 is almost identical. And octagon in the middle, part number 6. 7, with printing both sides. Strip it out. And this has a sort of sun shape in the middle, which needs to be removed. Work my way around it. Quite fiddly. In fact, fiddly would sum up the whole model, really, but maybe that's the joy of it. So there's part 7. And finally 8. Same thing. Ooh. And this has a few bits to come out of there. These pieces around the edge is, of course, 8. this sort of sun in the middle. There it is. I'm just going to clean that up, just take out the little bits that haven't cut through completely. But that's part 8 ready. So now we have 8 parts, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So they're now stripped out. Now we go to the pre-folding. Okay, so there's part 8, which I'm now going to start folding. Let's move those aside. So in this model, there are 3 types of folds. This is sort of based on origami folding, where there's valley folds and mountain folds. And the smooth line, the smooth crease, is a valley. So I'm going to fold that valley style like that. That valley is in reference to the printed side. The next one is a dotted line, so that's a mountain. And that will, I'll use that principle throughout. So it's valley and mountain all around until that's all folded. And you can even gather this up using those folds to make, I don't know, what would you call that, like a little Christmas tree shape. So roughly like that. That's part 8 pre-folded.
Yeah, go on.
So I'll put that to one side, and then we'll do the same thing with part 7. Same thing, the crease is a valley, and the dotted line is a mountain. And if you just work your way around the model, you'll notice this crease doesn't go all the way to the top, so if you can, just fold it, almost up to the end. And around. Mountain, valley, mountain, valley. Now then, that's ready to go. I'll just push that inside out so the little number 7 is down, and gather it together in the same way as I did the first part. And there it is. That's part 7 pre-folded. Part 6. So again, you can see the perforations and creases, and these are all consistent in mountain and valley. If you work your way around the circle first, before you get to the 4 leaves, and then I'll show you that. This is what's called a reverse fold in origami. So I've gone all the way around there. And so now I want to fold this so that the mountain fold is at the bottom of the leaf, so it goes away from me like that. So that I can crease it all over like that. So that one's the first reverse fold. I'll do the same thing here. Popping that away, creasing it like so. So I'm going to mountain fold these 2. Pop that away so it all folds like that, and then crease the whole leaf. I hope that's clear. Let's do the last one. So I've pre-folded these, valley in the middle, mountain on either side. Now I want to make a mountain here, here and here. So I pop it inside out and then follow that crease all the way along. And when you're finished, you should have all 4 leaves pointing up like that. That's with the printed side down. That's part 6, pre-folded. Part 5 is almost identical. Mountains and valleys. Work your way around the center first, the circle, mountains and valleys. And then you're ready to do the leaf. In the same way, just pop it over reverse fold, follow that all the way through. Pop it over, crease all the way down there so that the leaf is folded, reverse folded. Valley, mountain, mountain. I want this to be 2 mountains. Bump, pops over, and then I follow it through all the way down. That's nearly ready, but this piece has 4 additional pieces on the tips of the leaves which are just reversed back on themselves like that. Again, that's a reverse fold, or maybe rabbit ear, I think it might be called in origami. And that's part 5. Pre-folded. Now on to part 4. Part 4 and 3 are the most tricky of this folding section, so that's why I've done them in this order. Let's just work our way around the circle first, valley and mountain. The perforations are the mountains and the creases are valleys. And come round, nearly. So I've got them all done around the centre. Now I'm going to work my way through these leaves. So again, I want to just reverse that, mountain fold at the base of the leaf. Just a little bit more to hold in your hand than the earlier one. And the crease doesn't go all the way to the top of the leaf. I'll work my way around the circle, around the 8. Once you've got the knack, it's easy, but if it's your first time, just go slowly at first. There you go. As you can see, it's starting to look like a water lily almost immediately. So they're all folded, and part 4 should be reversed. Just push the centre down, and that is part 4 ready, pre-folded, ready to go. Part 3 is almost identical to that. Just work your way around the circle, the 8 sides, mountain and valley. And in fact, you can really experience the quality of the board here. You can see how it actually folds in every direction. This is literally in every direction. And you'll also see that it doesn't crack. I think it's sort of like a grown-up paper origami project, but made more durable by this paper board, showing off its great qualities. Anyway, I go round, get all of those mountains and valleys, and then I'll go to the leaves again. Just same thing as before, obviously. Not creasing all the way up. Nearly there. So that's part 3 done. So we're now getting there. Part 2 is very straightforward. It's just those 4 pieces in there. Actually, they should be folded up. Just those 4 tabs. Part 2 is ready. Let's now go to part 1 and finish up. So for this one, I didn't want to put perforations on. I've put a grey line instead. So the grey line is a mountain fold. And the reason I didn't want to put perforations on is because, in fact, this is plastic coated board, and we've made this originally as a lantern, a floating lantern. And this is plastic coated board. And as this is the base of the lily, I wanted it to not leak. So hence no perforations. Okay, so I'm just doing the mounting folds all round. And you can definitely see the quality of the board when you're so close to it like this. And it's, you know, partly because of its, you know, how it's constructed in many layers, so it doesn't crack like a paper wood. This is a valley on all 4 leaves, and the bits in between, there's valley folds. Work your way around, and we are ready to assemble. Oh, hang on, let's just put that on the table and do one last thing. Just check all of those folds are working well. Part 1. Everything should just be in order. There it is. It's starting to look like the base there. That's part 1, and we're ready to assemble. Let's put them all here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Aye. Okay, so, right. For the assembly, I will take part 2 and part 3. I'll turn part 2 over and offer up part 3. Now, there's a gap in between the leaves on part 3, and that has a little arrow shaped hole, and that should slide over the tab that's on part 2. The first one on, and I'll move around the circle, pulling the little tab on part 2 through the gap in between the leaves, that little arrow shaped hole. And it will start to go into 3 dimensions here as you go around like this. Try and push the tab through the hole without bending it, so it keeps its rigidity. Wriggle it through the hole, and that should establish your water lily. Oh, and there's the last one, like so. And on the reverse, you should see all of these, part 3, just neatly settled on those tabs. That's part 3. Right, so now we're going to put part 4 onto there. If you look at part 4, there's a little dot, a little hole, and you want to notice there's a little hole inside the model on part 2 actually, and you line them up. So I'm lining up the 2 dots and putting this bowl-shaped part 4 in. And then there's these parts here, I call them teeth. These 8 teeth are going to come through these 8 triangular shaped holes. So lining up the dots, pushing it down, let me show you that. There's the teeth coming through the gaps, and I'll work my way around that circle. So all of those come through those holes, and part 4 is settled in there. Now I need to lock it in to place, and so turn the whole model over, holding that part 4 in there, and here under the tabs you'll see that there are 4 new tabs from part 4, and you want to just grab one of them. I'm grabbing the one nearest me, and I'm now holding the model by that tab. Okay, and I'm pulling it vertically up so it's completely through the model, and then the 2 tabs left and right of it I push down and click the tabs on the left and right of that to lock it into place. So that's 1 tab done. Now I'll do the same on the next one, pulling it through the hole, all the way back, clicking the tabs left and right to lock it into place, like the tabs on the end of a box of toothpaste or something. So that's just pulling it through and then clicking the tabs left and right, and this will lock part 4 into position. That's 3 done, and then finally, I hope that's clear, 4. So now you'll see there's the 4 tabs come through from part 4, and I'm just going to, before I move on, just fold them back and even bring back these from part 2 so you get to see that octagonal hole. So that's part 4 attached, and it's starting to look a lot more like a lily. So now I've got to attach this model to part 1. Now then, where is it? On part 2, there's these large 4 leaves. Each have a tab left and right of them. And I'm going to put the leaf that's on part 1 in between the leaves of part 2, and then let them intersect like that, just there. I'm working my way round. Okay, there we go. And the next. Again, it will go into 3 dimensions when you do this. Can't do it backwards. Okay, one more. Only there. I have to turn it round to do this. My hand's probably in the way. Curses. Okay, there's that one done. And then finally, that one. Okay, I hope I didn't get in the way too much there, but all the tabs on the left and right of these from part 2 are sticking out, and it's holding together as a model. So you know, you've got the most difficult parts done now. We're just going to put the last few leaves inside and we should be good to go. So now I'm going to take part 5, and you'll notice on part 5 there are 4 corners in between the leaves, and they're going to go into the model under 4 of those teeth. So I'll put it in and then I'll lift it up so you can see it. 1, 2, I've done those 2, and then 3, 4. So obviously there are 4 teeth I haven't used, but that's that in there. And then part 6. 6 is similar. It now goes in between, these leaves go in between those leaves of part 5. So just push them all the way down to the bottom, pop it in, push it down. So it's roughly located, as you can see, in between those leaves. But then at the bottom of the leaves there are 2 little ears that just tab left and right. I'll just put one in and then show you. That's left and right there and there. So I'll do this one. Difficult to do it and show at the same time. That's the next one. There and there. And then that one. There and there. And then the last one. You can hear the tabs clicking in. And then if I just push them all together like that, that's that 5 and 6 in place. So all the white parts are done. So we'll put that to one side and bring in parts 7 and 8. So for this, get part 8 and part 7 goes over the top of part 8. Make sure it nests exactly one on top of the other. Hang on. Yeah, like that. I'll just turn that over so you can see. And then gather that all together as we did before. This time there's 2, one inside another. There it is. And then, because of the shape on the bottom of this, it will go in quite easily into the octagonal hole inside the lily. If you just make sure it's, you know, centrally placed. Now, if you manage to get yourself one of these, this is a battery-powered tea light. It's about 34 millimeters diameter, this one, which is a perfect size. If you do get one of these, this one turns on by screwing down. If you manage to get one of these, 30 millimeters in diameter, or 34, it can fit into the base of the lily. Fits down there a treat, and then you can make the whole thing into a lantern. And as Robert Harbin, the origamist, said, now you really have folded something. Your paperboard floating water lily lantern.